Some days, your mind feels like a calm sunrise. And other days it feels like someone switched the sky without telling you. And you don't know why your emotions won't obey you. Imagine this. You wake up feeling fine, not spectacular, but steady. You're brushing your teeth, planning your day, feeling almost optimistic. And then, out of nowhere, your mood snaps. It's not dramatic, not loud. Just a quiet shift, like a light that flickers and suddenly settles on dim. You don't know what triggered it. You look around your room as if some clue might be hiding there. Nothing. Just the strange sensation that something inside your chest has dropped 2 floors down. You swallow hard. You tell yourself, maybe I'm just tired. But a voice in the back of your mind says, no, something changed. You don't know what. You don't know why. You just feel it. And while it feels personal, deeply, inconveniently personal, the truth is that your brain has just pulled a few invisible levers you weren't aware existed. And those levers are your mood chemicals. Here's the truth most people never get taught. Your mood isn't random. Even when it feels like it is, your emotional shifts follow patterns your brain has been tuning for years. And at the center of it all are your neurotransmitters, your internal chemical messengers that help you think, feel, respond, shut down, or come alive. Let's talk about the 3 major players. First, serotonin, the stabilizer. It's not the happiness chemical people often claim. It's more like the emotional shock absorber, the thing that keeps your mood from swinging too hard in either direction. When serotonin dips, the world feels heavier, colors feel muted, and things that normally feel fine suddenly feel like too much work. Then there's dopamine, the motivator. This one gives you the spark, excitement, anticipation, reward. When dopamine rises, you feel hopeful, driven, alive. When it crashes, your day feels flat, pointless, sometimes even hopeless without you knowing why. And finally, norepinephrine, your internal alarm system. When it's well balanced, you feel alert, focused, and grounded. When it spikes, you feel anxious or overstimulated. When it drops too low, you feel foggy, numb, disconnected. Mood swings happen when any of these chemicals shift rapidly. From stress, sleep changes, unresolved emotional tension, hormonal fluctuations, trauma reminders, overstimulation, or even subtle lifestyle patterns we overlook. But here's the part no one tells you. These chemicals aren't just biological. They respond to your emotional history, your lived experiences, your habits, and your thought patterns. Your past literally shapes your neurotransmitters. You may think your mood swings mean you're weak, unstable, or inconsistent. But often, they simply mean your brain is doing its best to manage life with the tools it learned long before you had language for these feelings. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed by something small. Maybe someone made a comment that shouldn't have bothered you. Maybe your phone buzzed and you felt an instant spike of irritation. Maybe you walked into a room, and suddenly your chest tightened for reasons you couldn't explain. You probably blamed yourself. Most people do. But here's what's actually happening beneath the surface. When your brain senses a threat, real or imagined, it releases stress chemicals before you consciously know what's happening. This can trigger a mood shift before you have a chance to understand it. And sometimes the threat isn't the situation in front of you. It's a memory your nervous system hasn't resolved. Your brain reacts not to now, but to then. You're not unstable. You're reacting to a story your body still remembers. Picture this. Your brain is constantly scanning your world, trying to protect you. It's analyzing tone, facial expressions, your own thoughts, your environment, your stress levels, your past. Now imagine tiny messengers, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, rushing back and forth, adjusting your internal experience, fine-tuning your emotional readiness for whatever it believes is coming next. If your brain expects rejection, it prepares you with withdrawal. If it expects loss, it prepares you with sadness. If it expects pressure, it prepares you with anxiety. If it expects danger, it prepares you with hypervigilance. Not because you want this, but because, on a survival level, your brain thinks it's helping. And here's where it gets even more human and more heartbreaking. Many people live their entire lives thinking they change too much, feel too deeply, or react too quickly. They blame themselves for emotional shifts that were never really their fault. They were simply experiencing fluctuations in the chemicals that manage the brain's perception of safety. And when you don't know why these shifts happen, it feels unpredictable, like walking through your own mind without a map. But once you understand why you swing, you can finally stop fighting yourself. Let's go deeper because this is where the story turns. Imagine a day where everything feels like too much. Your serotonin is low, maybe because you didn't sleep well, maybe because life has been wearing you thin. Your dopamine is drained. You've been pushing yourself, functioning on fumes. And your norepinephrine is flickering. The world feels too loud and too demanding. Now imagine one small stressor. Text message. Loud noise. A minor inconvenience. In a regulated brain, you'd brush it off. But in your brain, already stretched, already tired, that small stressor triggers a surge. That surge creates a shift. And that shift becomes the mood swing. Not because you're broken, but because your brain is trying to stabilize you with limited emotional fuel. This is where the emotional awakening begins. When you understand this, you start treating yourself with more compassion. You begin to see mood swings not as character flaws but as signals, your brain's way of saying, I'm overloaded, I'm undersupported, or I need rest, safety, connection, or grounding. You begin to realize your mood swings are trying to teach you something. They're not interruptions, they're information. And here's the cinematic moment, the turning point, the part of the story that usually makes viewers pause and breathe a little deeper. You remember the morning you woke up feeling okay, only to feel a sudden shift? That moment, that quiet drop, wasn't your failure. It was a chemical message. Your brain was telling you something it didn't have the words for. I can't keep holding this alone. Mood swings are often the first clue that you've been running on emotional autopilot. Carrying stress your brain doesn't have space to process. They're not a punishment. They're a plea for gentler living. When dopamine is low, your motivation isn't laziness. It's depletion. When serotonin dips, your tears aren't weakness. They're regulation attempts. When norepinephrine surges, your anxiety isn't overreacting. It's protection. And when all three fluctuate together, your mood swings become the language of an exhausted brain. This is where healing begins. Not by silencing your moods, but by understanding them. Imagine instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" you asked, "What is my brain trying to balance right now?" Suddenly, everything changes. You respond rather than react. You soften rather than blame. You begin to see patterns you never noticed before. How your sleep shapes your serotonin, how your habits shape your dopamine, how your stress shapes your norepinephrine. And slowly, your mood swings stop feeling like chaos and start feeling like communication. If you've been struggling with mood swings, know this. You are not alone, you are not broken, and you are not doomed to live in emotional unpredictability. Once you understand the science behind your shifts, you become less afraid of them. You become more compassionate toward yourself. And you begin to reclaim control, not by forcing your emotions to behave, but by supporting the brain that's been trying to protect you all along. If this story helped you understand yourself a little more clearly, stay with this channel. There's so much more I want to help you explore. Your brain, your emotions, your patterns, your healing. And remember, the more you understand your mind, the more empowered you become.